It's great to be with everybody here today, and for those that may be watching this asynchronously. I am the president and co-founder of LeagueApps, and we are very excited about our JVA partnership, as we share and align about all the different ways we're trying to help sports organizations, especially volleyball club organizations, really deliver on their mission and fulfill kind of their aspirations and goals that they want to achieve. And if you slide me, one thing I'll start by saying is we're a mission-driven company. This is a quote that's on every one of our walls at any office that we've ever had, and it really speaks to why we believe so strongly in the work that you're doing, and why we hope you'll get a lot of value out of today's session, because ultimately we think what you're doing and what sport has the opportunity to do is so profoundly needed in terms of how it impacts individuals and how it can impact societies. Um, for those that don't know, if you slide me to the next slide, LeagueApps is more than just a software company, but we are a software company at our heart. But we're really a lifelong business partner, and we really believe that we can offer the tools, the services, and expertise to help volleyball organizations make sports happen. And in many cases, the reason why we were so excited to work and collaborate with the JVA is of the kind of alignment in what we do, and in particular the ways in which we're trying to help elevate the people that are leading these organizations, because we know how hard you work. In many cases, the eagerness you have to learn and be supported and share your insights with others. If we go to the next slide, for those that aren't familiar with LeagueApps, we have a connected platform that really provides a comprehensive management solution, and we're really proud of all the different dimensions of what it is that we do. And you'll hear from Rodrigo today, who is probably no stranger to many of you, as an exemplar example of someone who gets the full value of it out of all the different aspects of our platform, in addition to all the other technologies that he uses, as one of the most innovative leaders, not just in volleyball, but across all youth sports in this country. Um, and we're particularly excited because, as a partner of the JVA, we're able to provide educational, technological, and operational value to all of its members clubs. And so the next slide kind of illustrates all the different ways that we hope to be helpful. We're excited about our long-term partnership. There's lots of ways that we want to be useful, whether it's discounted access to our platform and websites, but also professional development, which is really what today is about. And when I think about the session that we're about to have, you're in for a real treat. And one of the things that I think is compelling is at our industry conference next up, that some of you attended, that brings together the top leaders from across different sports. We had lots of different sessions and topics, over 80 speakers in total, but the single highest rated session of any sessions, and that includes any sessions that I helped lead, was actually hosted by JVA member and NVVA executive leader, CEO Rodrigo Gomes, along with Maddie, who is LeagueApps analytics lead, and they're really going to provide that content and really apply it very specific to volleyball in a way that's exclusively available to JVA members. And so we're excited for you to be part of today's session, and really benefit from it, and hopefully have a chance to learn and ask lots of questions in terms of what we want to achieve from this conversation. And the webinars that we're doing with JVA is to provide very actionable insights, strategies, and tools that allows you to grow your business. And in this case, really understanding data. Someone once said to me that opinions are what people share when they don't have data. And in many cases, the data and the opportunity to use data at your fingertips is such a critical tool in transforming your organization. And in many cases, it'll be a key defining characteristics for those organizations that are having the most impact in the years to come. So we hope you'll take away some very valuable insight as our incredible leaders kind of take you through this. We're also excited, and you'll hear at the very end of today's webinar, we're going to be at the AVCA in December. So Kelsey will share some of the events and opportunities to engage. I know personally I'll be in Louisville, and excited to share some insights about where youth sports is going, and meet in person, but excited for you to take advantage of the opportunity to be virtually connected today. And so with that, I would like to bring up two remarkable people. One is Rodrigo Gomes, who I actually met at the AVCA many years ago, and was just blown away in hearing him talk about his technology stack, about his vision for the organization. He is true sports entrepreneur in every sense of the word. and we are honored to kind of be partnered here with him at LeagueApps. And then Maddie Lindy is on our product team, and she leads our data product solutions and is probably thinking more about data in youth sports than almost anyone you could possibly imagine. And so the combination of the two of them, I think, will really provide a lot of really valuable insights and hopefully some takeaways today. And so with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Maddie and Rodrigo and turn it over to them to continue the conversation. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for the overview. I'll pop back to the today's agenda and what we're going to cover today. Rodrigo and I'm so excited to share this content. I say this all the time, but I truly believe that data really empowers our organizations to grow in various ways. And so I think it's just a very topical item to be discussing today, and it affects every single type of industry, but I think especially with youth sports, it's super important. We'll quickly go over a case study straight from Rodrigo to show kind of the transformation of NVVA over the last few years. We're then going to go through a couple different areas that a lot of our partners have been interested in. How do you use data to improve the member experience? How to use data as a sales asset, as a financial story? And then we'll go into some Q&A as well. Really, our goal for today is we want you to be able to come out with one fresh approach to leveraging data for your 2025 strategic goals. There's going to be a lot in this session, but really it's, how can you think about the data you have access today or the data you want more access to, and how can you use that to improve 2025 programming or goals of yours? So with that, I will hand it over to Rodrigo. If there's anything else you want to add, Rodrigo, from a background perspective, and let you talk about the transformation of NVVA.
Thanks, Maddie, and thanks, Jeremy. It's a pleasure to be here again, talk about data. I was happily surprised. No, I wasn't very surprised because Maddie and I did a lot of preparation to get that presentation ready because we are very passionate about it. And the next up, it was very well received. And it's something that I am personally passionate about just because it has literally changed the way we have done things with NVVA and even the things that I have learned throughout my life. And like Jeremy said, data, it's a good path. Knowing data helps you with the path that you're going to take. So a little background about me. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Came to the United States on a scholarship to play at Brigham Young University in Utah. Start coaching after I had an injury, a back injury, and then fell in love with coaching. And then more than that, fell in love with the management part of volleyball. And I'm fortunate today to be the president CEO of the Northern Virginia Volleyball Association, which is an organization with a 43,000 square foot facility. We have about 80 employees working with us, and we are able to provide a lot of resources to our community. And one of the biggest ways we're able to provide resources to our community is by understanding the data involved in volleyball, involved in each neighborhood we reach, each county we reach, and so on. And then with that said, Maddie, I think I'm just going to jump here into the case study to explain a little bit
Yes.
about how we got to today. NVVA, just like a lot of you, at first, we are trying to understand what were the best investments that we had to make, especially with time and making sure that we could accomplish the things we want to accomplish. When I took over NVVA 10 years ago, I was giving the tasks to one, understand how to make an organization that was losing a good amount of money per year to stop losing money. And we already had a big facility and we already had a large revenue of about $3 million per year. So the first thing I had to understand is like, okay, how can I bring more people through the door and make us break even? Is that even possible? So I was honestly a little worried about how I was gonna answer all those questions, right? And I just went towards the only thing I could know, which was data. So one of the things that we did was to go back 5 to 7 years on the financial data of the organization to start making some decisions about that. Once we understood the financial history, we were able to paint a nice picture of what areas had the most engagement by our customers, what areas had the most opportunities. And I started slowly making changes and learning throughout the next 10 years. So in 2013, we could see that the NVVA had a net asset of $200,000. We were losing about 50,000 a year, and some years even more than that. And every year we are trying to make adjustments to make sure we could change that scenario in there. Data help us to start understanding where to cut costs. Data help us to start understanding where to make more investments of time. And then year after year, we can see on the graphing here, and I think I can annotate this. Let's see. You can see here that we start changing a little bit of the scenario when it comes to our net assets. They start going up. At the same time, I start investing more in salaries. My salary at first at NVVA in the year one here was literally what we pay our coaches next currently, and that was me as an executive director. And year after year, as we did well, I started investing more in staff, so we can see our staff line in here of investment is going up. We kept our net profit nice and steady at a nice amount of average of $200,000 to $300,000 a year. And then our assets kept getting up. And then up to last year, we were able to get to a really nice asset number in there. So data drove this whole transformation. Now there's a lot of things that we are planning that we do with data, including marketing, human resources, finances, customer service, AI that we are looking into implementing slowly. And there's a lot more to come, and a lot more of things that hopefully in the next presentation we do in a couple of months, we can share about how to use data with all the new trends that are coming up, Maddie.
Awesome. Thanks, Rodrigo, for that overview. Super impressive to see the transformation and the graphic here of NVVA. I don't know, Rodrigo, if you can clear your thank you so much. So now we're going to chat about data for the member experience. Just a high level overview of how should you be thinking about the member experience? Really, it's how do you enhance that engagement and retention, and how do you improve your competitive advantage? In the volleyball place, I'm sure many of you can relate to the fact that within a very small distance, there are probably a couple different clubs in the area where you're competing on how you gain access to those members. So what can you think about, and what can you use, and what data can you use to attract members to your organization yourself? Just a super high level before I hand it over to Rodrigo to talk through a scenario. But zip code data and visualization can be super helpful, as well as attendance trends. And I'll let Rodrigo speak to a specific scenario, but I'll show off some LeagueApps reports after he does that as well. So let's think about this, Rodrigo. There are 3 competitive volleyball programs in your area. You want to iterate on your programming from 2024 to enhance your competitive advantage in 2025 in your community. How can past historical data help power your strategy?
Yeah, and that's a great question that we all go through probably, hopefully every year. We're trying to figure out what can we do to make our programs, more successful every year. One of the things that we look at very closely is where are our clients coming from? Where are our parents coming from? So the zip code for us is extremely important to understand the density. And one of the things that Matt, I didn't even talk about in the next up conversation in presentation was also about understanding if people are taking the time to travel to you, understand even what time of the day to start your programs, right? Because if you're starting your programs at 5 p.m. and people are coming from 30 minutes away, and parents usually leave work around 5, you're kind of out of luck in there. So that's one of the things. So understanding where and when your programs start. It's an important aspect, which we did. As an example, we used to start all of our programs at 5 p.m. and they were all long-term programs, and we changed that to starting at 6, the long-term programs, and starting at 5, the short-term programs. What does that mean? At 5 p.m. we have classes, we have some things that are like section-based, so people can sign up for a section and they can pick and choose. And at 6 p.m. we have leagues and club volleyball and all those things that are long-term. That went really well. That allowed us to give flexibility to the families, allowed them to feel like if they want extra training for their kids, they can take a day. They leave work a little earlier, they drop them off a little early. But then on the long-term programs, they feel much more comfortable to join.
Awesome. And just quickly, I'm going to pull up another report. So one of my product areas is I lead our LeagueApps analytics reports, and so we're doing a ton of iterations constantly on these reports. So I just want to quickly show off some of the reports of and relate it to what Rodrigo was talking about. We have a member locations report. So what this does is it really gives you a visualization of where are your members located. For example, you could say, hey, I'm in the New York area and, I see most of my participants here. But as you zoom out a little bit, you start to see, oh boy, there's some people that are over here in Long Island. And so you can think about, I want to start offering carpooling in that area. I actually want to maybe start offering events or, changing the times of those programs because so many people are coming in from those areas. So that's a really good place for you to be looking at. Additionally, you can draw a lot of insights from your attendance data. Within LeagueApps, you can use a check-in feature. So for every single practice game you have, you can understand who's attending and look for trends in that attendance data. And then based on that attendance data, you can also make insights on, maybe this program is only attended once a week versus we wanted it to be three times a week. Maybe we should reduce that to make it a little bit easier, more accessible for folks.
And here's one thing to add to that, Maddie, like understanding where the clients maybe are coming from, it's great. And also understanding where they are not coming from and understanding the data behind each location. As an example, if your clients are coming down from an area, a lot of your clients, and then an area that it's right next to it has a lower household income, as an example. Maybe you need to have some elasticity in your price so that you can attract people from that area. We have been doing a lot of community segmentation lately here in Loudoun County, and I think in most of the U.S. there's Title I schools. So if a Title I school is located in a certain county, we automatically try to not automatically because we try our best to make it automatic, but we try to understand their area might need some discounts, and we try to understand the volume of our programs and when our programs might be sold out or not. And at that point, try to reach out and bring more people from those communities, which, I like to think that we are running a business valuable when we are collecting funds from families. We are running a business, but we can run a business that's also sustainable, elastic, that does good to families. And that's one way to do that by creating that kind of elasticity on your pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great addition. Awesome. For next, we're going to move over to thinking about data as a sales asset. So really, how can you actually maximize your program revenue? How do you maximize your program revenue? How do you identify leads with high return on investment? Some helpful data you can think about: abandoned cart info. Think about every time you've gone to check out with possible, shopping item or even a flight. Kind of in a weird way, you all of a sudden get an email and it says, hey, you forgot about this, or here's a discount. Very important to think through registration trends, as well as looking through, who are the top revenue driving clubs or organizations or people. These can be really great ways to start targeting marketing and offering discounts or other incentives to add people to the program. So for this one, Rodrigo, I'm gonna cue you up again. You're an administrator for United Volleyball Club. Registration is closing in a few weeks. You notice there are 10 spots left to fill. What are the steps you would take to get to that 100% capacity?
And that's a great question that we just went through the last couple of months. Winter is coming. We are a winter sport. There's a lot of people there. A lot of states in the United States that get really cold in the winter, so people want to be inside. So hopefully, we try to get a lot of sales in this time of the year. But before we get to that point where we are a few weeks away for the programs to start and still have spots filled, I want to backtrack a little bit. We like to think about our clients or potential clients as leads versus actual clients, people that are registered with us. So if you're looking at what Maddie was just saying about abandoned registrations, that means that somebody that was a lead, but they became really warm at that point. They're not somebody that never heard about you, that just went to your website maybe once. There's somebody that went to your website and actually went to your registration system and almost registered for something. So they are warm to hot at that point, right, Maddie? And then we may have your clients that maybe they have been with you just for one section of something, so they are nice and warm. Maybe they have been with you for 3 years. They might start getting cooler. Or clients that just literally sign up for the first time with you, so they are nice and hot clients. So thinking that way, when you look at your website and registration systems, allow you to have different strategies. So on this example over here, if we have 10 spots left a few weeks before registration, so maybe you want to look at your clients and all your warm clients that only participated once and double checking if they're not coming back for that section. That could be easy ones for you to reach out to. Or definitely you want to look at your leads and your hot leads. They're right there, ready to register and abandon the registration and offer something to them like, hey, do you need any help to register? Here's a discount code for you to finish your registration and so on. So looking at things that way and putting in little buckets, I like to think in little buckets, allows you to create different strategies depending on what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I really like how you put it in terms of like cold, warm, hot. How can you actually think about the types of clients that you want to target at different points in the life cycle as you're building up towards a program? Um, Quickly, I'll show off again the LeagueApps analytics dashboard. Um, Within LeagueApps Analytics, we have an abandoned registrations report. So as Rodrigo said, this shows your potential participants who completed part of the registration but didn't actually hit payment. And so this is a really easy report that you can export directly from LeagueApps, put into whatever marketing analytics tool you have, and send this out in an email blast. Additionally, we have different dashboards that show you the top revenue generating clubs and organizations. So if your particular organization runs tournaments or other types of programming where you want to track that information, you'll be able to see. In this one, League Apps, wow, they have the highest invoice total. Maybe we want to offer them a bit of a discount or some form of incentive, maybe bring a new club into this tournament and they'll get a discounted registration. So can use some of these insights in order to drive that program growth and hit that 100% capacity. Awesome. All right. And for our final piece is how do you think about using data as a financial story? You want to be supporting fundraising, expansion, investment, and what can you think about? I think for all different types of organizations, there's different things that you want to do, and you need finances for that. Are you fundraising for a new facility? Do you just want to expand programming, hire new coaches, hire new staff? Do you want to get investment and diversify from new sources? What is the data that really can help you think through that financial story? Some metrics include lifetime value. So how do you actually think about your profitability over time? How can you show the value of your program over a longer period of time versus just that point in time estimate? How can you show zip code trends? Lots of data to tell that story when you're talking to new or old investors to gain those funds. So once again, Rodrigo, I'll ask you, after running a successful programming at your first facility in New York, you notice that a majority of members are traveling over an hour to your facility. You want to create a pitch deck to raise money for a second facility to expand programming and reach more participants. What data would help convince investors to invest in your plans? How would you decide where to put the new facility?
And this is another great question. And we just went through this homework a little bit in the last couple of months, or I would say a couple of years. And one of the things that I learned is that even not only investors, but yourself, you want to look at like the long-term viability of making an investment, right? And then when that long-term viability depends on things that like maybe you're not able to maintain. What I'm trying to say here, like if you're running a program that every year kids only participate for 6 months to a year and leave, or if you're running a program that doesn't have any type of long-term commitment, then you have a hard time even yourself making that decision to make that move. And you're definitely gonna have a hard time with either investors or a facility that's looking to taking your business and to see you as a good business to be working with. So a couple of things that we did and we do look at is the lifetime value being as high as we can possibly make it. And Maddie, at some point, we don't want to forget, and that was a question that we got. Next up, giving people an example of the lifetime value ideal or average, what would be. In my organization right now, it's at 1.4, 1.5. Used to be at a 1. And I think what it made it, I know what it made it increase was the fact that we start focusing a lot more on programs at a certain age group, which is the age group 9 to 14, which there's a lot of middle schoolers still getting involved in the sport. A lot of middle schoolers that want to learn more, want to do private lessons, they want to do classes. When they pass 14 to 15, that changes a little bit. That's just historical data for us, at least. So lifetime value increases with age in our perspective here, lower age, more lifetime value. Lifetime value also increases with lower complexity of programs. Club volleyball has a nice lifetime value when it comes to the program being long, but then if you have a big turnover, you might lose clients every 6 to 8 months on a league, on a class, or on a simpler kind of program. There's a higher lifetime value. And another thing that we like to look also when we're trying to think about those investments is residual income. And the residual income to us is possible memberships. Memberships not only help with the residual income, but also helps to spread the wealth, meaning that if everybody, then that's how Lifetime Fitness does this. I have been studying a lot of those organizations, Planet Fitness. They have a lot of people paying, let's say 1,000 people paying for a gym that only can support 500 people, but not all the people show up at the same time, right? So having this kind of plan of a membership model has helped us a lot. And we have been growing 20% since we implemented this 3 years ago. Every year, and then we plan to keep growing that membership model from the time being, not only for investment purposes, but also that allows us to make the fees lower for all the other programs, because everybody's sharing the wealth, for lack of a better word.
Awesome. And Rodrigo, talk to me a little bit more about, how when you were fundraising for new facility, what were the most compelling values that they saw? You mentioned lifetime value. Were there other pieces of data that helped make that story more compelling?
Yeah, definitely. Everything that we just talked about, pretty much, like knowing that the zip codes and knowing that my clients were actually in a certain location and making the move to a location where everybody was kind of a no-brainer, right? Just think about it, like if talk about the zip codes, if people are traveling 20 minutes to you and everybody's time has a value, and people are now going to be traveling only 5 minutes, you can't even calculate that on your formula of how much you can charge for a program, because people before was spending 20 minutes to get you, now they're going to be spending 5 minutes, so that was one. Second thing, it was the longevity of the business going forward and historical longevity, right? So looking at a 10-year, the graph I just showed, steady growth for my organization, and seeing that every year we are increasing assets, keeping that profit pretty steady. That was a really nice thing to see, that we are pretty consistent. And then moving forward, knowing that we are investing in places where in programs where lifetime value was high, knowing that we are investing to increase in membership revenue, and knowing that long term we had plans to move closer to all those people that are already coming to us, made it I'm not gonna say a no-brainer because it took a little bit to get to that point, but made us win we call it the LOI battle, letter of intent battle with other organizations.
Awesome. Great. And I will just pop over once again into LeagueApps. So what we've done is we've created another report that focuses on enterprise metrics. So as Rodrigo mentioned, you want to think about the average lifetime of members over years. This test program is at a 1.01%. There's lots of insights we could be grabbing to drive, how can we get this from a 1.01% up to what NVVA is able to do at a 1.4 or 1.5. You can see the actual yearly member value and registration member value. So you can actually add, a dollar sign to some of these lifetime value, which investors really like to see as well. All right. Awesome. So I think at this point, I hope that the questions are flowing. I hope that we've given you some ideas. Would love if you could also in the Q&A put in some thoughts of, hey, what have you learned today? What are you going to start thinking about? What data you're going to start looking into in the Q&A. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to pass it over to Kelsey to talk about what's next.
Hey everyone, how's it going? If you don't know me, my name is Kelsey Grambo. I work on the volleyball side here at LeagueApps. And like Maddie said, hopefully you guys are coming up with some good questions and we'll get to a little Q&A in a moment here. But just wanted to pop in and introduce myself. I've been at LeagueApps for about 3.5 years now and really passionate about the industry. I've been working in the volleyball vertical for quite some time now. And we love partnering with volleyball organizations, and our product, as you can see, it tends to be a really good fit in the space, and we hope that it allows for you guys to streamline and to grow, and we really focus on our partnerships as just that, not just you guys being clients and taking our platform and kind of doing what you want with it, is more of the collaboration process and understanding how you guys are operating, what we can do to help you guys, and work together on moving forward in that respect. If you can, whoever's on slide me a little bit here. So mentioned it a little bit earlier too, but we like to be out in the community. We like to see you guys, meet you in person. We attend a lot of tournaments throughout the year. We also will be at AVCA. I myself and a couple of my colleagues will be there. So would love to meet you in person, to start the conversation. We will be hosting a happy hour. I'll actually be there Thursday through Sunday. So more than happy to sit down with you guys individually, discuss a little bit more about our current partnerships with LeagueApps and just more about your organization, understand where you guys are at, where you're looking to go. But we're hosting a happy hour at number 15 on Friday from 6 to 8, and that'll be after JVA hosts their session too. So hopefully it's a jam-packed few days. We're excited to see you guys there. There's also, I'll kind of pop it in the chat too, but my calendar is available at any point. Guys, please feel free to let me know if you have any questions on LeagueApps, on anything in general. More than happy to point you in the right direction. But excited to meet you all. Don't be a stranger. Please come up and say hi. We love to have conversations and look forward to seeing you all there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelsey. Yes, AVCA is going to be a great event. Come say hello to the LeagueApps table. Come to the happy hour. I am sure it's going to be so fun. All right.
I can touch a little bit on this too, Maddie, actually.
Great.
Obviously, if you're on the call, you've kind of recognized the partnership that we've recently begun with JVA. We're super excited about it. We feel like we align on many different cylinders. So we're excited about the different events moving forward. We're going to continue to do webinars like this. We do want to make it known that, for all JVA partners, if you guys do come on board, we have several different, advantages, perks, if you will, to that partnership. So this is just kind of touching upon those. Again, if you guys want to have a further conversation about that, about how we can help you guys out, discuss technology, discuss your organization, your business, we're here for that, but excited about this future partnership.
Awesome. We also, at the end of this webinar, we will be emailing out like a little cheat sheet from this presentation, Powering Strategic Goals with Data. We also are happy to answer any questions that don't get answered today. From like a product perspective, Rodrigo has a wealth of knowledge as well in terms of, how can you think outside the box with data? So there's lots of opportunities to continue the conversation after this webinar. That will move over to Q&A. Let me see. Q&A. I'm not seeing, I don't know, Kara, if you see any Q&A. Trying to pull that up.
We haven't seen any questions come
Okay.
through, but you all have permission if you wanted to come off mute and ask any questions, or if you prefer to type them, whatever works for you.
The chat is disabled.
Oh, is the chat disabled? Do you all see a Q&A little box? Is the Q&A disabled as well? It might be. Well, while we try and figure that out, does anyone want to come off mute and ask any questions or give us a little shout on, what data you think you'll, start thinking about for 2025? Rodrigo, do you have any new data you're thinking about for 2025?
I do. Couple of things. Number one, I'm really getting into a lot deeper into the geographical data on each place where we work and when we want to work in the future. We're very looking into per capita income, of course, looking at age groups in each area. We're trying to find ways. We have been working on putting our data on top of the geographic data so that we can make good decisions. We have now worked hard to make sure our curriculum matches with our marketing plans and with our data plans, meaning that we want everything to be vertical. So if you're teaching a league, we want everybody, not only the league, but all the classes and everything that we do to be on the same vertical line so that we can market that way. So if somebody's in the league and needs some more setting classes, we do that. And also we collect lots and lots of data on the players themselves, not only for the improvement, but to segment the marketing for those players. So if a player is not serving very well, we tag them in a certain way and segment the marketing for them that way, which helps us to keep our marketing costs low and increase just the returns on that. I think we got a question there. QA is working. That was a question.
Q&A is working now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Rodrigo. I appreciate it. Yeah, we have a lot of partners that are thinking through how do they use data, especially targeting for their marketing strategies and making those more efficient. How can they take data from LeagueApps, look at different demographic data or different trends, and then automatically start sending some emails based on these trends. And so that's been like a really big focus for a lot of our organizations that are in growth mode.
Yeah, and important to mention there about LeagueApps specifically, the dashboards and everything you, Maddie, and the team are working on. It's awesome. It's a very good way for you to see things and see trends. The API, though, is another important aspect of what we do because we, of course, sometimes we need to not only see the data, but the dashboard, but act on the data. So the API allows us to act faster on things that are happening.
Definitely. Yeah. And we see a lot of our larger and strategic partners using our API or they want data in their own data warehouses. And so we'll send all the data to their whatever Google Cloud storage of their choice, and they can use that to create insights off of that as well. So we're doing a lot on the data side, not just within the product, but also helping our partners get access to what they need and how they need it. Awesome. I don't see any questions coming in. I think we are all set. I don't know if I'm passing it off to someone to wrap, Kara.
Yep. Just one last question came in about learning more about the LeagueApps reporting. I responded in the Q&A with that, but I'll also throw it in the chat right here. But since we don't seem to have any more questions, thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you, especially Maddie and Rodrigo, for taking us through this amazing content. I was able to join the session live at Next Up, and today's session was fantastic. It just keeps getting better and better, and really appreciate you sharing all of these insights with the group today.
Great.
Thank you guys for
Have a
having me.
wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.